We are here in the Venice Lagoon at the end of a 2 days workshop organized by the Geoscience Department, University of Padova, the framework of a project supported by Cariparo Foundation. The project was focusing on Holocene, Tidal and fluvial deposits of the Venetian Plain, and here in this workshop we hosted a nice discussion with young scientists, PhD and postdoc students coming from almost from all the continents. Yesterday at the department they explained their different theories about evolution of tidal fluvial coastal networks, about possible deposits associated with these networks, and today here we are visiting and observing morphologies associated with tidal networks in the Venice Lagoon. Actually, we started this morning through different stops, several stops, 5 stops, and after a brief introduction we analyzed different topics related with development of tidal meanders. At the beginning we analyzed the smallest channels, almost creeks, and we defined different relationships between their lateral shift and the vertical aggradation of surrounding marshes. Especially we depicted different deposits which can be generated by this interaction between lateral migration and vertical aggradation. Then during the following stop we analyzed something that in terms of scale is a little bit bigger. We analyzed proper channels up to a couple of meters deep, and we analyzed deposits associated with the cutoff, with the abandonment of one of these meandering channels. Especially also in this case we evaluated the effects of vertical aggradation and lateral migration in a channel that has a different size from the small creeks. We also discussed the development of different types of fascias within point bar deposits, which are the deposits generated by lateral migration of these channels. Especially we highlighted that these deposits they don't show clear evidence of tidal signature evidence for tidal processes. Even though the Venice Lagoon, we know pretty well that is dominated by tidal currents. This is quite a peculiar feature of these deposits. They are like a king without crown. They are tidal in origin, but the evidence of these processes is not so clear. So we discuss with these young scientists these possible issues related with the interpretation of these deposits of a similar set, accumulated in a similar setting, if we find them in the rock record. We moved even more in the lagoon and we increased the size of the channel we were observing, and we spent time discussing, for example, the effect of piracy events which can affect tidal networks. These events are related with the evolution of the networks. So the different catchments, they can evolve, they can grow, they can spread on different areas, that they can interact with each other, and following this interaction, part of the network can be deactivated and part of the network can host a larger amount of water, let's say. So the drainage of the network can increase, and even the discharge within single channels can increase. These have pretty relevant consequences in terms of evolution of meander bands and architecture and sedimentology of related point bar deposits. Now we are dealing with the last stop and we are visiting the largest channel in this field trip, and we are actually again observing some cores as we did in previous stops, where again we cannot see clear evidence of tidal processes, even if tidal currents are shaping or controlling the evolution of this channel. Especially during this stop we are also considering the effects of erosion of sediments from tidal flats which are siding the channel, and the effects of injection of a large amount of sediments eroded from tidal flats into the channel. So all this evidence can be compared with the data reported from these young scientists in order to understand better the evolution of this complex system that is certainly one of the most peculiar systems of the Mediterranean area that need to be properly understood to be properly managed and preserved.